the Overman Warrior Podcast.
Hi, it's Rich Hoffman here. I really am enjoying this disclosure story. I've talked about this stuff for years, and people kind of look at you kooky. They're like, well, you're so serious about all these other things, and you're so right about so many other things, and you go off and talk about aliens and UFOs, and you lose me. Because that's part of the scam, is because they wanted you to believe, they being those who want to rule over you. I just wrote a whole book about this topic called The Politics of Heaven. And it's essentially about how this has been going on for years. When authority figures want to rule over you, they want to maintain that they're the only ones that's ever been in charge. You see it in corporate culture all the time, where a new CEO comes in and wipes away the previous one, tries to eliminate that they were ever in charge of anybody on payroll. You see it in homes where a stepfather comes in. The kids are in a house where the mom and dad just recently divorced, and the stepdad wants to erase all memory of the previous guy, including taking his Craftsman tools out of the garage. You know, it's not enough that he's now sleeping with mom now in the same bedroom that they saw their dad in, but all the pictures have changed on the wall. The furniture's changed. All of dad's tools were taken out of the garage and sold at a flea market. That's how administrations erase previous knowledge. And you see the same thing in governments. They don't want to admit that for many, many millions of years, and I think you can prove that archaeologically, many millions of years, we've been visited by many species of many different life forms. Let's call them intelligent, relatively so. They had advanced technology that interacted with us, and we traded. We traded either labor or scientific material for them. We traded something and trade for something else. Technology. Learn how to make cloth. Learn how to make a wheel. Learn how to make a spear. Whatever it is, we've always been trading. This has been going on for many years, and now with the disclosure coming out of the Trump administration, and of course Steven Spielberg's movie, which I think will be fantastic, is coming out mid-June. This is May of 2026. So you have all this information coming out, and people are kind of. I've been sharing my book with some top level people, and they're reading it. And they're like, "What? What? You're a serious person. What are you talking about?" I'm telling you. This has been coming to this point for many years, this whole disclosure thing. And here it is. This is Jesse Waters on Fox News, where the UFO file scientists have basically come out and said, and I've known this for a long time. I've read all these books, and they often sounded kooky when you read them. It's like, are you serious? Who believes that? But that there are 4 alien species that have been interacting with human civilizations for many years. And by the time people talk about them, they could be written in literature under many forms. But these guys have been coming and going for as long as human history has been recording history, obviously. Now we're no longer making fun of people who say that kind of stuff. Some people might still be. But this is primetime Jesse Waters on Fox News. This is corporate media talking about things that... let's listen to Jesse Waters here.
We are not alone. The Pentagon released the UFO files a few weeks back, and we just found out over 1 billion people have visited the site. 1 billion. It's got to be a record. The War Department says more files will be released soon. UFO experts and top researchers have been investigating aliens for years. Their sources say
most people believe this stuff. That's why 1 billion people visited this site to download it. There's a huge hunger for it. The only reason you don't hear about it more, when you go to the grocery store and you start talking about UFOs, and you look at the tabloids and you see a UFO on the cover of some tabloid magazine, or aliens picked up the Kardashians and husked them off to do some probing or something. whatever it is, you don't feel comfortable talking to your neighbor about, wow, what do you think about those aliens picking up Kim Kardashian? That's generally looked down upon. Part of the scam has been to make people feel like they can't talk about it. This is how scams often get perpetrated. If you look at the Medicaid scam in Ohio, it's not that the scam happened, the fraudulent behavior happened. It's that you're being chastised for being a whistleblower. That's the story. If you bring it up, you're all of a sudden a bad guy. And it's the same thing with these UFOs for years. If you brought it up, these authority figures that wanted to maintain power and control over the new regime, if it's the new husband saying to his wife, don't talk about Larry in front of the kids. Well, but Larry's their father. I don't want to know about Larry. I don't want to hear about what Larry used to do. I want to erase Larry from this house because I'm living here now. I'm the dad now. This is what you get from authority figures in corporate conditions. When you get some kind of hostile takeover and they come in and they're like, all the people that you previously reported to, you're not going to report to them anymore. We have our own people. Listen to us. We want to erase all of them. China's doing that. China has pyramids and mounds and all kinds of earthworks all over the country. They don't want to dig into them and do any kind of archaeology because they want everybody looking at their administration as the only one that's ever existed. The power is, we're the parental government. Listen to us. Going back to the jealous new husband. I don't want you talking about Larry in front of the kids, Dorothy. Don't bring up Larry's thing. Oh, that picture came from Larry? Or that thing on the wall, that's from Larry when you guys were together? I want it gone. Sell it at a yard sale. I don't want any memories of Larry. Change the carpet because Larry's toenail clippings are in it over by the chair. And I don't want to step on them. I don't want any memory of Larry. So what's going on here with these UFO files? We're the government. We're in charge. Give us black budgets to run the CIA and everything else. And we'll say we can protect you from these things, which we can't because we've been making deals. We control these things by making deals with them. And they've been doing it for years. And here we're talking about it on the Jesse Waters show on Fox News, which I'd say is about as mainstream as he gets.
Dozens of crashed UFOs have been recovered, and what they found inside, shocking.
Do people think that there's one type of non-human intelligence that's visiting the Earth, or is there many, many types?
People who have been involved in recoveries have said
there are at least 4 types.
4 types of species.
Now, I have not had direct access to that, but I believe the people who I talked to.
4 different types of life.
4 different types of life.
4 different species of aliens. Another scientist called them Greys, Nordics, Insectoids, and Reptilians. All of them have 2 arms and 2 legs, just like us. Experts speculate the reptilians are scaly with long tails like a lizard. Insectoids look like a praying mantis. The Greys look like your classic movie alien, and the Nordics look like a regular Swedish guy, but 7 feet tall. We haven't seen the evidence, but Pete Hegseth says more evidence is coming, and there are a lot of believers in Congress.
I have seen evidence in a skiff that leads me to believe there are things we cannot explain, and I have observed things that are of non-human origin and creation. That's my opinion.
Dana Polina Luna.
Releasing the files isn't easy. They've been hitting for years, and a lot of people want to keep it that way.
The problem we have right now is the deep state's fighting the president on release, and he kept his word, and I suspect some of our not so friendly comrades and some of our alphabet agencies are slow walking a lot of information.
And why?
It's about control, and that's kind of what runs Washington.
It's the new husband jealous of
So
Larry.
why is our own government fighting so hard to keep these secret? Well, a dozen scientists have either gone missing or died. Now, we don't know if that's related.
Pretty
but
sinister
people are
stuff.
scared to talk.
one I thought was going to do an interview, and then a couple days before sent me a message saying, after further consideration and long talks with my wife, I decided I'd be forfeiting my life if I participated in your interview. And I thought that
should not be the case.
Very unsettling
yeah.
message to get, obviously, but also very specific word choice, forfeiting my life.
Dan Fair is the director and producer of The Age of Disclosure, the film that started to shake loose the UFO files. All right, Dan, what have you heard about these different breeds of alien life?
Look, a number of the people
Four
in my
types.
film, senior intelligence officials, went on the record saying that there have been dozens of crashed craft of non-human origin.
Dozens,
Years, and
not just
elements of
Roswell.
our government have recovered those crashes, and they
Bodies were taken to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, right up the road from where I'm at right now.
That were on these craft.
I know people who work there
Film
at
crew
high
were
levels.
saying that the bodies were not all the same type, meaning there were multiple species.
Were the bodies alive or were they
In
dead?
some cases.
The people in my film talked about events where they were dead bodies, they were deceased bodies.
Okay. And
Yeah.
there's a lot of speculation about the amount of UFO information we've been given on this first tranche. We expected more. We know there is more. Why do you think people inside the government are fighting so hard to release more?
Yeah, so the president gave his directive in middle of February, essentially instructing all federal agencies to declassify evidence of non-human intelligent life and UAP. What happened after that is the White House had to go get that evidence out of the hands of all these federal agencies, and they all for the most part pushed back. The people.
And why? Again, I go back to, and I cover this extensively in my new book, The Politics of Heaven. When you talk about all these different alien species, they have their own political orders, and they're roaming around, and they have technology that allows them to bridge vast amounts of space. They come from all over the place, and they have for years. And a lot of what the secret is, a lot of what we see on Earth, especially when you get to these Nordics, the interactions they had with the Nazi civilization. The way we've communicated with these things has not always been devils, as we think of the devil or anti-God conspirators in Paradise Lost, in Milton's Paradise Lost. I think most of the time we're talking about alien life forms that come from other places with other political orders that are not Christian in origin. They have their own ideas about things, and they're conspiring for their own power structures. And they make deals with us in order to facilitate whatever it is they need out of human civilization, whatever they get benefit from a trade. But I think a lot of people who have taken credit for a lot of the great innovations that we've seen in modern society that came out of nowhere since 1947, since we started talking about investigating the reverse engineering, like the Roswell crash, and we start reporting these things and picking these things up and studying them at Wright-Patterson. What do we know about these four different species? It's not just one alien species that we've been thinking about, like from the Tim Burton movie Mars Attacks. We have an idea what little green men are and what role they play in our perpetuation of historical narrative. Are they demons? A lot of people have been saying more and more that they're demons and that they're devils or characters of ill content. But the way we've interacted with them over the years has been through occult practice. And we use occult rituals to communicate with them in some kind of telepathic way that they can then communicate with us. And we bring them in and we seek their union with them. And that's apparently been going on. You can go back to the Witch of Endor. There was this attempt at witchcraft, at looking for extraterrestrial aid, not just competing gods as we typically label them. Yeah, Yahweh against Baal and Ishtar and Moloch, but characters of various degrees of Larrys, who were roaming around the galaxy in flying saucers. And when Saul felt that Yahweh had left him, who did he pray to? He went to the Witch of Endor, and what did she do? She tried to contact the dead in order to foresee his future. This idea of using occult ritual and star alignments to get to a truth and get benefit in the living here and now comes from somewhere. And my argument in The Politics of Heaven is that it's always been going on. These interactions with these different species. In this case, we have a revelation. There's 4 species that scientists are willing to say we know of. We've seen the bodies. We've retrieved dozens of craft, and in those craft are different bodies from different places. There's all kinds of different alien forms that have been interacting with Earth for millions of years. And this idea that they seeded the planet is hard to people who want to believe that they've created the method for talking about seeding the planet, whether that's a religious means or some scientific means, whether it's a complete reversal of Darwinian theory. The Smithsonian plausibility diffusion case, if that's what they want to, they've established that this is what we believe and this is what we've published and we're going to stick with it. It is no different than the wife saying, I still love Larry, honey. I want that picture up on the wall because I don't want to forget about Larry. And what's that going to make the new husband feel like? Very insecure. So you're still thinking about Larry, huh? When we're making love, are you still thinking about Larry? When we're in bed, are you still thinking about Larry? The hard answer to that is yes. I still think about Larry. The kids still love Larry. And what's going on with these UFOs? People are dying and being killed and taken away who are trying to be whistleblowers on this situation because the authority figures don't want it out that everybody still loves Larry. But 1 billion people have chimed in on this website to see for themselves what's been hidden from them for years. And essentially what's been hidden from them is that these alien life forms have been constructing our existence in the background since we were recording history. And lots of historical narratives have documented it. Lots of authority figures have tried to burn the books, throw that information out the window any way they could so they could hide it from the public so that the public would worship them as true leaders, not be thinking about Larry. You see that insecurity in corporate culture all the time. These people used to be the ones that signed your paychecks. We've taken over through a hostile takeover. Get rid of those guys. Now you listen to us. We're the new husband. You got to love us because we're the only ones that we're going to erase any semblance there is to the past. And that's what you're seeing. That's what you're seeing with this disclosure. And that's why I have a particular reverence for it. I'm loving it. I love that it's happening. I've been talking about it for decades and decades and decades. Going back to the 4th grade, I gave a very compelling speech on UFOs when I was in the 4th grade. And everybody thought it was crazy. I had done a lot of reading about UFOs when I was a young guy, and I felt I had a pretty good take on what the whole thing was all about. And I said it in a big stage play that they did in my elementary school. And I talked about aliens. And pretty much what I said then is what I'm saying now. And it's about power and control. And it's coming out now with disclosure, and I'm enjoying it very much. And I talk about it and give the receipts in my book, The Politics of Heaven. I consider it a serious piece of literature that ties directly to the crisis that we're having over discovering that there's 4 species of aliens that have been interacting with the Earth for as long as recorded history has occurred. And we're just now getting government people to admit to it. And that took Trump to do it. Would never happened if anybody but Trump had been in the White House. But now that he is, 1 billion people are downloading it, and now it's getting out. There's no pulling it back in now. The information's out. It's on Fox News these days. It's not conspiracy theory television. It's not Coast to Coast or the Truck and Bozo show. This is on Fox News primetime, 8 o'clock primetime slot. The corporate media at its finest. And they're talking about aliens. 4 species of aliens. It's no longer a conspiracy, folks, and I'm enjoying it a lot. Anyway, Rich Hoffman here. Share, subscribe, make tomorrow a better day. If you haven't read my book, The Gunfighter's Guide to Business, I think you'll love it. Anyway, have a good day. See you later.
In the age of disclosure, you must understand the politics of heaven. Coming soon. Coming soon, the politics of heaven in 2027. A treasure hunt through heaven and all human history.